Ready? OK. Est-ce que tout le monde m'entend? Un petit signe? Vous m'entendez? Ah, voilà, très bien. OK, donc the title of my talk today is Sales Order Approval. My name is Stefan Keller. I'm the CEO of Sodexis. And on the other side, you have a QR code to the pad for any question that you may have during the call, okay? So I'll give you a second to, use it. All right, so just a few words about Sodexis before I start. So as an Odoo partner since 2012, Sodexis helps manufacturing and distribution companies across the US and Europe to improve their efficiency by implementing the Odoo ERP solution with the highest return on investment possible. So really your primary goal is to always help our customer to go through the implementation process successfully. We have offices in Florida, in the US, in Switzerland, France, in India, and at this point we have about 40 employees, and we have really all the roles that you need for a successful implementation. So we have business analysts, we have development team, we have system admin teams, and we even have a bookkeeper if you need help with that. So here's the agenda. I'll start with a short introduction, and then I'll dive right into the demo. And again, you have here the link to the pad to ask your questions and the QR code. So introduction. So this app is relatively simple. It creates approval request before a quotation can be confirmed based on specific conditions. Okay, so basically, you're not able to confirm a quotation unless all those requirements are met, okay? The motivations for this, there are different things, but one of them is if you have a large sales group, for example. That was the case of our customer for whom we developed that at the beginning, and you want to make sure that all the salespeople basically go through the same process, okay? The customer also was importing a lot of sales order from multiple origin, okay? And then it's sort of easier to actually do the testing in Odoo instead of trying to do the testing at the time you're syncing, okay? At the time you sync, you just want to bring the sales order as it is, and if there are certain things that are missing, you want to treat that in Odoo, okay? And of course, sometimes you have some complex testing that the salesperson might not be able to do by themselves because it's too complex, okay, or it would take them too much time. So the main features are that it's integrated with the Odoo approval apps. So at the time we looked at this, I think Odoo just came up with the approval app, and we thought it was the right idea to actually just build something on top of that instead of trying to reinvent something from scratch, okay? So we have the app since version 14, and I'll show you during the demo that you have a manual approval that's possible, or there's also a process to automatically manage the approval request, okay? So we also have in the system, if for some reason the condition is not there anymore, then the approval is automatically, the request is automatically approved, and actually the sales order is even confirmed automatically in that case, okay? And then I put easy, but I put easy in quotation mark. It's easy to add new approvals in the sense that you don't need to do a code update, okay? You still need to know what a server action is, and you still need to be able to code that server action, but you at least don't have to update the code in the production system. All right, so let me try to go to the demo. And so this is Odoo, version 16. I'm going to go first to the approval, and let's review the approval types. And ours have a little flag that says automated, so I'm just going to look at the approval types that I set up in this system, but of course you can set up a lot more. So I'll start with, I'll just look at a few, but this first one is just basically requesting that the customer has an email, Okay, so in case the customer doesn't have an email, then you don't want the quotation to be confirmed, and you want either the salesperson or somebody that's in charge of that approval type, like you can see on the site. All this is the standard approval code from Odoo. As you can see, you can decide who are the approvers of that specific approval type. You can impose a sequence. You can indicate, the minimum number of approval that you need. I'm not going to show you all of that. That's standard Odoo. Okay. So what we added here is, first of all, you have the sales order field here, which is new, and also the way it works, it's always required because it's always an approval that's associated with a specific sales order. And then at the bottom here, we have the fields that we added. First of all, here it shows that this approval type will be automated, so automatically, we'll test for that approval request, and if it's appropriate, we'll trigger it. And then here, you have the approval request. You have a server action that define whether or not the approval is needed. Okay, and we have the same thing to decide if the approval request can be cleared. Okay, so based on the server action, if you're familiar with server action and a little bit of Python code, you'll see that it just returns an action that's true in case the message is filled, and then we have the message that tells us that the email is required, and so it returns true. And if it returns true, then we create the approval for the sales order, and we don't let it to be confirmed. Okay. And here, for the request cleared, it's actually just the opposite, basically, of the first server action. And so we have a schedule action that will run in the background and will check, if that condition is now satisfied. And so if somebody enters the email at any point, then the system will automatically approve the request and will also confirm the sales order. And then we also add the option such that you're able to add the salesperson as an approver. Sometimes it makes sense because you just want the problem. Okay. Sometimes you want to make sure that the salesperson does a certain things for that sales order, and that's one way to do that. Okay. But then they can approve them themselves. I think we have a problem. No, no problem? You good? All right. All right, so that's how you define the approval type. Let me go now to a sales order. If I can. And here, I have a sales order that's, with a customer without an email. Let's make sure that's the case. As you can see, there's no email. And so I'm going to just duplicate that sales order, and we're going to try to confirm. At that point, the system tells you, well, there's some approvals that are required, so you cannot confirm this sales order, and you can repeat that as many times as you want. You'll get the same result. Then you can look at the approvals that are needed, and you can see here that it tells you that the customer email is required in this case, okay? And so the simplest things you can do is, so whoever is an approver will get an email, and then they'll get the link to the approval request, and of course, they can either approve it, refuse it, or cancel. That's the standard, Odoo behavior. If you approve it, then the salesperson can just go back to the quotation and confirm them, and then proceed with the sales order, okay, as usual. Another way, another answer, so I'll duplicate the sales order again. I'll confirm it, okay, approval required. I'll go there and I'll refuse it. Then the sales order will stay like this, and I guess that's probably the responsibility of the salesperson to follow up and figure out why that person refused it. Okay, and then By the way, once it's refused, if somebody tries to confirm, nothing will happen. It will stay like that. Okay, so they'll just have to manage it with the person that refused it. That person can then, once the issue has been cleared, can withdraw, the refusal and then approve it or cancel. Sometimes you need to cancel those. Let's say, for example, you didn't have the right list of approvers and you need to add some. So you would just cancel this, go back to the sales order, confirm it again, and then it will create the approval, okay? And so now the new approvers, for example, can actually review it and decide if they're gonna approve it or not, okay? And so I can do that, approve, and then again, I can just, confirm it manually. Then the other option is to actually solve the problem, okay, and then let the system then manage the request, okay? And so I'll duplicate that sales order again, confirm it. I'll go to so the approval is there, of course. I need the email, going back to the sales order. So the person that's, the approver might have somebody to add the email, or the salesperson then will add the email. So let me do that. We'll do that. We'll save it. Okay. And then now I'll go to the the schedule action that we set up to process those approvals. I'll run that manually. Let me make sure that it's ran. Okay, let's see the result here. Okay, now you can see that the approval request has been automatically cleared because now somebody entered the email, so the condition for the request is not applicable anymore, and therefore, the system knows that and then not only approve the request, but also, will confirm the sales order at that point, okay? So you can either manage it manually or if you want to, you can solve the problem and then let the schedule action basically automatically approve the request and confirm the sales order. And then you can see here also there's a automatically cleared a Boolean that shows you that that's what happened, okay, such that there's no surprise there. Okay, so this was just one example. In this system we have more of those approvals set up, and I have one example to show you. So a customer with several approvals, and I'll just duplicate this. Nope, duplicate. Yep. So that's a quotation. I'll try to confirm it. System tells me, okay, there's approval that are required. In this case, there are 7. You can see, there's an address verification. So the address has not been verified. Some products are not available. The credit management, it's over the credit. We also have a credit management module that might interest you. It's a little bit more advanced than what Odoo does in V16. I think they did some improvement for V17 from what I heard this morning, but at least compared to V16, it's a little bit better. And if you're interested, I'm giving a talk on that on Friday morning. And so the next one is the email, free product. So, if there's a free product that's included in the sales order, somebody has to approve that. If there are duplicate lines, that's interesting when you do a lot of import of sales order. In case something goes wrong with the sync, you might have several, duplicated lines. And here there's a request to have, a mobile phone. And I think I still have a few minutes, so we can, for example, go to that customer and add a mobile phone, and of course I'll add an email again and save that, and then again we can process run manually the schedule action, but of course, normally it would run every so often. Okay, and in that case, if I go back to the sales order, here, the list of approvals, you can see now that those two have been approved, but the rest is not approved yet, which means that the sales order can still not be confirmed, okay? If that makes sense. And then all the approver for each of the approval requests then will go through it, and at some point everything will be approved, and then the sales order will be confirmed, okay? Let's see, that's really everything in my talk. That was a demo. We have more apps. If you're interested, as I said, the credit management. We have a return management app. We have a shipping terms app, an EDI connector. We have an FTP module that enables you to sync files between an FTP site and Odoo. We have a module that checks availability up till today plus n days, as opposed to checking availability for all the scheduled dates. We have a subcontracting module, which is a little bit more, let's say, advanced than what Odoo offers, and so forth and so on. I think we have about 100. We just went over 100 apps that we contributed to the App Store, and we have many more that, sometimes it takes too much time to contribute to the App Store. And that's really it. Thank you very much for listening. And if you're interested in anything of this, you can visit us at our booth on Hall 10 at A3, and we can talk more. And maybe there are some questions now.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and your explanations on the approvals. I will check now for questions on our pad. So I have here a question saying, can approvals be transferred to someone else when they're already linked to a record? Meaning that someone else should approve the record instead of...
That depends on the Odoo code, okay? Let's see here. Address verification. So they have the list of approvers here, and by default, I don't think you can add an approver. So you cannot transfer. So we didn't modify that. We could modify that easily to add the option that certain, somebody with the right access could add another approver. Right now, you would just cancel the approval and then try to confirm the sales order again. Well, change the list of approver on the approval type, and then confirm the sales order again. So it would work, but it's a little bit cumbersome. But I guess if you really wanted that, then we would add the option that you can add more approvers there.
Okay, thank you. I have another question, but I'm not sure if I understand it, so maybe you will clarify it. What if the email is added to the customer card? I think we're talking about the case where the email address was not specified on the contact.
What if the email is added to the customer card? Well, that's what I tried to show you during the demo, okay? That you can either approve the request without the email. If you have the access right, then you can. Just saying, okay, in this case, we'll make an exception. Or you can have somebody adding the email on the customer card. And at that point, you'll be able to, well, you can leave the system, then do its job, and the system will review the approval request and see that the condition doesn't apply anymore, and then will approve the request and confirm the sales order.
Can we set up an order in which the approvals should be done? So in the sense that maybe one approval could be done before the other, that would be required before, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good idea, but no, we don't have that. Yeah.
Okay. Don't hesitate to put back the QR code so that people, if they didn't have time to scan it, they can still...
back. Yeah, yes. I can do that here.
Perfect. Okay, and what else do I have? There is a question regarding the document attached. Is it possible to make it as a requirement?
A document attached. I'm sure our tech team could do that. I don't think I can. Yes.
Okay.
to request
So-
that, on the sales order. So we have the link from the approval request to the sales order, and then we would have the link from the sales order to document, and then in the server action, you could just request that it's larger than 1. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I don't see any more questions. I don't know if
Here,
anyone wants to add
questions?
something.
Anybody? If not, then thank you all.
Thank you, Stéphane.